let's get into that. So let's go over some of these problems with Pulsechain, like the video says. My number one issue that's driving me crazy is that the scanner's not working. The Pulsechain Explorer, scan.pulsechain.com, it hasn't worked at all. You know, if I want to look at any transactions, I can't, nothing's showing up. The blocks show up slow. Like if I just pulled this up, it says the last block 6 minutes ago. And obviously it's happening because I can interact with the blockchain. It's just not being tracked on the Explorer. And that may be because the chain's not indexed. You know, maybe they're putting all their CPU, all their computing power toward the indexing the blockchain, and then once it's indexed, they'll be able to. Man, that drives me nuts. And the other thing is there's no real way to interact with the contracts that already exist. And I don't know if that'll happen when the indexing finishes, or if it just will never happen until the people who deploy those contracts on ETH come over to Pulsechain and verify it. Maybe it's something like that. They say it seems like an amateur oversight. I think it's by design. I think he's rewarding people that sacrificed. You know, since I had a couple million Pulsechain, I've been able to mint those NFTs, and I was able to sell my Gala and my USDC and my Chainlink and all the Ethereum tokens I had, and I was able to mint NFT with the profits from those. And by the time everybody gets over here, all those liquidity pools are going to be drained, and it really is a shame. I mean, it's not fair. It's not fair crypto, that's for sure. Besides a strong community besides Pulsechain, why would developers want to build on Pulse? Yeah, that's a great question, and we can't really judge it based on until that bridge opens up and we can actually, everyone can interact with Pulsechain fairly. We don't really know what we got. You know, if it does end up being a chain that's fast and has low gas fees when it's at full load, maybe developers will come over to Pulsechain and build on it. But from what we've seen so far, it hasn't really been a fair launch. It hasn't been a well-communicated launch. I'm hearing nightmares of people losing their stable coins, all these different things. And trust me, I got a list of gripes here, and this is just my first one, is the block explorer doesn't work at all, and the chain's not indexed. In my opinion, they probably should have waited until the chain was finished indexing before they even launched it. You know, and then once the chain's fully indexed, the block explorer works. We're not going into this thing blind, wondering if our transactions are completed. You know, every time I click on one of my transactions here and I go to view on Block Explorer, it's either 404 not found, and that's because it's not taking me to scan.pulsechain.com. And if I redirect it to scan.pulsechain.com, I'm gonna get a different error message, and we're unable to locate this transaction hash, which is even scarier. Like, why can't you see my transaction hash? But the wallet itself says the transaction was successful, and I can see that reflected, and I'm able to interact with those tokens. I just have nowhere to see it other than when I'm interacting with the chain itself. There's no block explorer. And I don't mean any disrespect. I like Richard too. He taught me a lot. He's always given good advice. But this is hilarious. This is what I'm gonna wear to the Zen meetup if that ever happens. FB says, compared to the money sacrificed, objectively, it just seems like an inferior product. The only strong point is the community, which is a fair point since it's very important. I can agree with that. It's also the first few days, so there's always the chance that they'll push forward upgrades. They'll make, as the chain indexes, the Explorer's gonna act differently. Hopefully it acts better. The one thing that I'm not sure that's gonna be fixed are the gas fees. And that might just be our perspective. You know, those first couple days on the chain and on the testnet, the transactions are less than 1 or 2 pulse. But since Zen launched, it's just been millions and millions of the gas, which that kind of goes back to one of my gripes, which is the documentation and the communication. Like we don't know anything. We haven't had any solid announcements. Like, why? If we go over to the Pulsechain beacon, it's beacon.pulsechain.com. I click on the little gas guy here. Why did the gas look like this for the first couple, you know, for the first day? And then all of a sudden it's been pegged red ever since then. And, you know, it gets really busy at certain times. This is before the bridge opened, before people have even joined it. All this are only people that sacrificed. So what's going to happen when the chain actually goes live? Which is that's another reason why I'm going crazy minting NFTs, is because this. Once the chain goes live, this is probably going to shoot way up, and it's going to be pegged red. And hopefully, as time goes on, less and less, there's going to be a huge rush, and gas fees are going to go nuts. But eventually, it should reach a manageable level. But it's just something unexpected and something that could have been mitigated if there was better communication about it. Why would someone risk losing their money bridging over when so many people are having a difficult time doing so? I agree with you 1000%. That is for sure. Why? I thought the same thing. Like, especially when it first opened, immediately people were sending stuff across the bridge. What I want to do is send less than $50 over just to test, but I couldn't imagine sending anything, hundreds or even thousands of dollars over it until it's fully tested. I would give it time, because bridges are one of the most and they have the biggest attack surface in crypto. And there's two sides to that attack surface. You have both chains, so it's definitely scary. Nothing bad's happened yet as far as I know, but usually those attacks happen when there's the most volume. So whenever they open those bridges, we'll see what happens. And that's another reason why they're kind of leaning into it, I believe. They want to make sure it goes well. They don't just want to open the floodgates for everybody and have everybody lose their money. They only want some people to lose their money. So yeah, let's keep going with this. So another thing that bothers me. Another thing that really bothers me about Pulsechain is there's no liquidity on the ETH side. So where did our $1 billion go? Are they planning on adding that later? Or another thing I don't like about Pulsechain. Why aren't the stables stable? Why don't they have more communication about stables on the PLS side? Why are people buying USDC and USDT? It's ridiculous. And they're just letting it happen, and they're just taking that liquidity. It sucks. Hopefully people realize that USDT and that USDC over on Pulsechain aren't going to be worth anything. So don't think when you buy 1 million USDC for 10 cents that you're going to have $1 million. That is not how it works. Those are centralized companies, and if those companies aren't funding that blockchain, there's nothing you can do about it to restore that peg. But here, let me pull up, I'm going to pull up the coins on Pulsechain, and we're going to take a look at what these stable coins are doing exactly. Where do we go? Pulsechain. I wasn't sure if there is a... Yeah, right here, USDC to DAI. So this is supposed to be $1, 1-to-1. You can buy this USDC DAI for 66 cents, but why? It's not going to be repegged. It's not the right stuff. It's silly. You're wasting your money if you're buying stables, and a lot of this is the Pulsechain's fault for not being more forthright and communicating with people. The only real bridged assets are the ones that say from Ethereum. So like, you see this USDC from Ethereum. This is also not pegged. That's crazy. And who knows? Like, I would not be buying into stables or bridging stables or doing anything with stables on Pulsechain right now. It just doesn't make any sense. But then you have the DAI USDT pair, which is $1.05. Like, it doesn't. How does that work? How does that make sense? I definitely recommend staying from the stables. If you're gonna put it in anything, put it in PLS or Hex or PLSX. I'm just letting my PLS and my PLSX sit. I might participate in a liquidity pool, try to earn some fees and stuff, but even that's a little risky if you're not paying attention. You know, a permanent loss can really get you. There's just a lot of weird stuff. We're kind of in limbo. You know, why can't we bridge all our assets? Why aren't there liquidity pools set up on Uniswap or on Ethereum pools? Why are people stuck? Why can't people transact if they, you know, unless they sacrifice for Pulsechain? It's all kind of a bummer. All right, so the gas has fallen to 44. Let's see how this bridge works. All right, I'm going to test out the bridge. So the last transaction here is from 11 minutes ago. But as we know, our Explorer doesn't work, so now I think if I add this to my Pulsechain wallet or my Pulse address, zero die. Sweet. That's awesome. Hopefully it arrives by the end of the stream. If it does, maybe I'll buy a little more PLS. But that's pretty funny. I notice it doesn't put the right domain prefix, so you actually have to type in scan.pulsechain to get to the right place. But even when you get there, the transaction's not there, so that's great. So if I click on this, it was submitted with 77,000 PLS. So I'd be really happy if that goes through. There's a good chance that this is going to get stuck and it won't go through. Hopefully it'll go through in the middle of the night, but we'll see what happens. So I definitely appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Hope you guys give me a like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. Go give me a follow on Twitter. Also check out the TreeCityTrading.us website. Over here, we're actually doing the Track My Portfolio. So every week on Friday, I'm going to be DCAing $100 into crypto live on stream. And you can actually track that on the website just by clicking Track My Portfolio. With the first buy, we did 100% Bitcoin, and I'm really excited to add some new altcoins this Friday. It's also my birthday on Thursday, so maybe we'll do $200. We'll see what happens. Definitely recommend checking out CoinStats. If you're going to sign up, please use my referral link on the website. It's an awesome portfolio tracker. You basically just pop your wallet address in there and it gives you all the different crypto you have. It does have Zen, it has DBZen, has a lot of the smaller altcoins, so that's really cool. Also check out the Zen merch store at zenmerch.store. We're over here sitting from the Zen merch mug. They got some great quality merch over there. And hope everybody has a good night. Happy Tuesday. And we will see you tomorrow on Wednesday. Thank you so much for coming. All right, have a good night.